Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today guys, we are going to be jumping down into the charts to take a look at what has been going on most recently with Bitcoin. As I get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free to join. I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there. If you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, there's also links to our Patreon services in the description down below. Why not check those out and to see what we have on offer there. Right, let's jump on down into the desktop here and take a look at what is going on here with Bitcoin. Okay guys, we're just going to start things off really on this hourly chart just to give you a bit of an overview of the price action. Then we're going to jump into some Glassnode data and also review what's going on there as well. So we paired up with USDT. We are on Binance. As I said, this is the hourly, right? So we got big ABC correction, looking to finish somewhere around the 41,200 range. Again, this is a lot on micro ABC taking us down there. There's no need to actually come down that low. If we were to actually measure the distance on this here and move it over to this high, the low point actually is pretty much a little bit above where we are, right? So the 1-to-1 on this would actually be done already, and we're actually bouncing from that 1.382 range right there. Obviously, we don't want to go down to 41,242. It would essentially put us into an impulsive structure on the downside here. So we don't want to avoid. We want to avoid that kind of thing if possible. We're just north of that 1.382 at the moment, so we're looking for a reversal anywhere around here to kind of complete. Now, this C wave on this little ABC here has technically met its minimum requirements as soon as it went past the A wave. So there's no need for it to come all the way down here, but it is a possibility, so we should be open to the idea that there is more downside. But we'll also monitor what's going on with the slightly larger corrective move. So let's go ahead and just drill down into that for a second just here. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure what's actually going on here. We have the double topper here, right, basically indicating that we are a bear signal, if you will. So double top, come back down. Now when we measure that distance, obviously you can see here what we've got. Let me just got the larger one. Let's go ahead and make sure we got the micro one also mapped out. Here we can see that we are failing to kind of go down past 1.618, but we are hovering on the 1.382. We bounced from the 1.382 and we're moving on up again, right? So if I go ahead and just remove these out of here for a second, we can go ahead and just draw up what that looks like. A, B, and C, right? Pretty straightforward. And then we start to see a pretty good reversal. We start to see an A, B, C just here. Now we're in an A, B, C down. Okay, so what we want to be looking at is the stochastic RSI on this hourly chart. How quickly is this actually moving down in relation to the price? Okay, if we throw the volume on here, we can see that the volumes have just decreased massively. Specifically on the way up, which is why we didn't have much in the way of price discovery from the overbought to the oversold to the overbought area here on the charts. So essentially what we've looked at here was we've done a big, we've done an ABC upwards, wiped out the stochastic RSI, and now we're looking to pull back down, and we want to lower the stochastic RSI. The volume at the moment isn't indicating any kind of selling pressure. We're actually still decreasing this volume even as we pull back right here. So essentially that's actually helping wipe out that stochastic RSI faster, and we'll end up in the oversold area pretty well without doing too much price damage. So essentially I think what we're looking at is some kind of smaller ABC here. Okay, and then this actually gives us encouragement to think that actually what we've got might be some kind of larger ABC move. Okay, just grab a hold of this, essentially with all of that being an A, some kind of B wave coming down, and then some kind of C wave moving on up. Okay, and again that means we've got a good structure of a reversal starting to form. It is still corrective, it is still just a corrective pattern after all, but essentially we are moving on up. Now, for the most part, Bitcoin, I think, is ready and due for a bit of a bounce to the upside. And the bounce to the upside should actually then start to see many of these altcoins also hit their kind of fifth waves before there's a major correction due. And that major correction, I think, will come in line with Bitcoin pulling back down into a bigger C wave down. So when we jump back into the charts here, and we just zoom back out, and what we're looking for is some kind of bounce, probably to take us up towards our $45,000 range approximately. Essentially what I think is we have all of this here as giant A wave we bounce up for a B, and then we pull back down into a C wave, taking us down towards the $37,500 range after we hit the high points just up here at around the $48,000, right? It's something that we've been talking about for a while. If I just shoot back up into our daily time frame here, we have been talking about, this $47,000 pretty much since we got the reversal around here. Once we started tracking around these low points of around $37,000, we were saying it's very likely that we're going to move up to about 47.5, and then we would probably pull back down quite significantly. We were not buying this A wave. Instead, we bought this B wave dip, okay, and then we rode it up here. And obviously, this is now the optimum point where we start thinking, okay, well, we're pulling back down. We know that it's only an ABC. We know there's probably going to be an A wave here, a bounce up, and then we pull back down lower, testing our trend line. Okay, around 37.5 seems to be a nice logical area, but it could be higher than that depending on how long it actually takes to bounce up and pull back down. Right now it's 37.5K, but it might become 39 and or 38 by the time we actually need to come down to test this line. Okay, so essentially that's looking pretty good for Bitcoin on the price action. We're just kind of waiting for that bounce to start and move up towards 45, and then moving up towards 45K will essentially allow many of those altcoins to rally up in their fifth waves, take out those technical areas, and then they can also correct quite sizably. So let's jump over to Glassnode. One of the favorite reports that I do have on Glassnode here happens to be the net position change, right? All exchanges will take all the Bitcoin flowing in and all the Bitcoin flowing out. What's the net difference, right? Has more Bitcoin gone onto the exchanges than has left, or has more Bitcoin left the exchanges than has gone on? When you see red, more Bitcoin has left, and when you see green, more Bitcoin has gone on. Quite straightforward. Now, the interesting thing here is we've got more and more accumulation occurring, right? The price was moving up and accumulation it's increasing, but it was actually relatively low numbers. Bitcoin's pulling back and Bitcoin is being accumulated in larger numbers. We had another 90,000 Bitcoin leave yesterday, and that actually now takes us over 2 million more Bitcoin leaving exchanges this year than has gone on, right? And there's going to be a huge shock to the system here in terms of price, right? If we really break down what actually creates price discovery or what causes a price to move up, it comes down to two very simple things. We all know this already, and it's basically just supply and demand, right? It doesn't really have anything to do with market cap. Market cap is price multiplied by circulating supply, right? It's just a measure of price, not value, not the money going in, not liquidity or anything like that. Essentially what you need for price discovery or price recovery or just price movement is to have some kind of understanding of supply and demand, right? And so when we take a look at Glassnode here, we have the supply of Glassnode, or the supply of Bitcoin on Glassnode as indicated, that the exchanges are losing volume after volume after volume of Bitcoin. And essentially what this is going to do is create a shock to the supply system for BTC, right? So eventually, once that demand kicks in, and it isn't there yet, and what you're already witnessing is basically the storm before, or the calm before the storm, essentially, right? The price pulls back down, whales accumulate, and then they trigger FOMO, might be good news in the media or something like that. Retail investors start buying it up, and you start seeing actually a decrease in the number of Bitcoin, and it becomes positive as they start to load more onto the exchanges for selling, right? This is something that we've seen time and time again, okay? So what we are witnessing now is an increase of Bitcoin leaving the exchanges in the same way that you saw when Bitcoin was down in the lows of September, or even if you really look at it slightly differently, August or even July, right? Back when it was super, super cheap, right? Basically, Bitcoin was being accumulated. Then when Bitcoin actually starts rallying, you start seeing Bitcoin getting loaded onto exchanges and then offloaded at the top around $67 to $69,000, right? That's what it was being offloaded. And then basically it slid all the way down. Not much adoption on that way down until it reaches these low levels, right? The low levels pretty much started in January 2022, and we started to see a lot more Bitcoin leaving the exchanges again. And now we're right back at the same levels, if not greater than what we were in September and August of 2021, right? Now, so this is basically telling us that essentially there's whales, there's institutions buying up Bitcoin at these discounted rates, and they aren't slowing down. Over 2 million Bitcoin this year so far has left the exchanges more than has gone on. And as a result of that, there's a huge shock to the system, right? Essentially, what you're going to see is as soon as the demand kicks in, the price of Bitcoin is going to go to prices that we just haven't seen previously. Then, of course, we're going to start seeing it all load onto the exchanges. It's going to be sold off, and the price is going to crash very, very hard, right? And that is the end of the bull run, okay, in my eyes. I think we're going to be well above $100,000 with this amount of, Bitcoin leaving the exchanges. And as soon as we start hitting some of these key levels like $50,000, $60,000, the FOMO is going to kick in with many retail investors, and it's going to absolutely send the price skyrocketing. And the foundation of why is being done now. We're seeing the Bitcoin leave the exchanges now. Okay, so this is what is preparing for what is to come. And if we actually shoot this data back a little bit and we go into 2019, you can see what the bear market was looking like versus the bull market. We can see that basically we had the loading up back in pretty much from March 2020 all the way through, and then we had a little bit more of a sell-off just up here before the pullback in September, right? So we saw a little bit of a sell-off there, and then we saw a lot more, basically accumulation occur on the way up. This accumulation pretty much stopped at December 2020, before everything went crazy with the FOMO in January of 2021. We saw a little bit of accumulation during the time, but the whales had already accumulated. They rode this up. They started sending off little pockets here and there, and then when it got to the top, bam, they dropped it all. And essentially what you saw was the price of Bitcoin fall back massively. You saw all of the inflows coming back in here, and you saw mass selling occur. Then you start to see the adoption again, or the accumulation again, and that is where we are. We are back right where we were at the beginning with the accumulation occurring. Now, the Bitcoin price has held out quite well. I think whales may have underestimated the amount of long-term holders actually willing to hodl this, because we're wising up to some of the strategies that are going on there. So essentially, this is a really key report to understand what are the whales doing. Are they actually increasing day on day the amount that's being accumulated, or are they decreasing the amount that they are accumulating day on day and so forth, and what we should prepare for seeing what happens next and all that kind of good stuff. So we couple this information with what we're seeing in the charts here, and we're seeing, maybe conflicting information, right? More Bitcoin leaving, the supply of Bitcoin shrinking, but the price of BTC pulling back. So, there's a lot of reasons for this. Essentially, we have to be very, very open to the idea that not many retail investors are that involved with Bitcoin at the moment. There needs to be a whole new range of crypto newbies, if they will, buying up Bitcoin. If you're in crypto right now, not many people are too involved with Bitcoin because of the very small percentage yields that you actually tend to get. More involved with altcoins and things like that. But it's good to know what Bitcoin is doing, because it is obviously the market leader overall. So right now, I'm expecting some kind of short ABC down on Bitcoin. We can see that we are tracking quite nicely within this daily move, and then we'll have some kind of B wave push up. Then I'll have that. We'll see that C wave drop down lower, and then a huge run. And I think the run after this is the one that sees Bitcoin really start kicking in with some of that FOMO. So guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.